Karen from Countyfairgrounds USA, countyfairgrounds.net. Welcome to today's podcast.
Hi, this is Karen from County Fairgrounds, and on the line with me we have a Mr. Greg Warren, a stand-up comedian who we're going to talk to about what it's like to be a comedian today. Hi, Mr. Greg.
Hi, Karen. How you doing?
We're doing good. So how long have you been a comedian?
Well, let's see. I quit my day job about 20 years ago. At the time I was selling Jif peanut butter and Pringles potato chips for a company called Procter & Gamble. And I was doing that for like 10 years, and I would do comedy kind of on the side. But I didn't commit to it fully until about 20 years ago.
You know, one of the things I like to ask people when I interview you entertainers is, what was your first live show like? Do you remember it?
I definitely do. I was in college, and I was on the wrestling team at the University of Missouri, and my friend on the wrestling team worked at the comedy club as a bartender, and he just signed me up to be in this contest, and I won the contest. It was in college, and I still remember because we were in wrestling practice on Friday, and my coach in college was serious business, wrestling in college, and I didn't even know that he knew about it. And it was Friday practice, and he was like, "Guys, we're going to knock off a little early tonight so we can all go down and see Warren do stand-up comedy." So it was like the guys all my teammates came. And they were all very they were supportive, but they were especially supportive because I got them out of like an hour of practice. So yeah, Yeah. I wrestled. I wrestled. My dad was my high school wrestling coach, Karen. He still watches tapes of me wrestling in high school and critiques them. I'm 52. So I was over at his house the other day. He's like, what are you doing in this match? You're just laying there like a dead animal. What was wrong with you? I was like, I don't remember, Dad. I quit wrestling 28 years ago. You quit wrestling in the middle of this match. That's when you quit wrestling.
Poor father person. So what does he think of you being a comedian?
Now I've had some success. So he's like, oh yeah, it's always been a big supporter, always been for it. But when I quit my day job making a lot of money, he was not. He wasn't thrilled with it. Let's just say that he was. He wasn't. My mother was extremely supportive at that time, but he was.
Okay.
He didn't. He was basically. Yeah, I think I was 33 years old when I quit my job, and I told him, and he's like, no, that's a bad idea. You go back and you get your job. I'm like, Dad, I'm 33. Like, I'm not asked. I didn't ask your permission here. It's like, it's done. I did it. I'm just telling you. He quickly became supportive.
I have to ask one of the things that I've always wondered. You write your own stuff?
Of course, yeah. That's the whole fun of it,
Okay, all right. So, what was your first biggest show that you remember?
I probably the first time I got on TV was like on a show called Premium Blend on Comedy Central. Mm-hmm. That was a big deal. Mm-hmm. It was hosted by Wanda Sykes. It was, I don't know, about 18 years ago. And, they shot it in New York, and they flew you into New York and, put you up. And I got to be on that. And then I got to be on the Late Show with Craig Ferguson pretty quickly after that. And that's a lot of fun. When you're doing those late night talk shows, it's you're the only comic there. And, I was in the, on the same episode as Eddie Izzard and a band called the Buzzcocks, a big-time punk rock band. So that was kind of cool. And Craig was really nice. So
that sounds like fun. I have to also ask, I always ask this question, what was your worst experience?
Well, that's a good question. As a comedian, you're going to have several, especially like the first several years, you're just awful. One of my worst ones was I'm a big baseball fan. I live in St. Louis, and I'm a big St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. And I got asked to do this event for the St. Louis Cardinals. The manager of the Cardinals, Tony La Russa, called me personally and asked me to do this event for the team in front of all these people. And I got up, and it was one of the situations where, like, nobody was listening. There was kids running around trying to get autographs of baseball players. The microphone wasn't working all that well, and it didn't go well. And I could literally, like, I could look out into the audience and see. I was like, oh, I can tell you the lifetime stats of that guy right there who was not laughing at me. So that was unpleasant. Yeah. And then on the way out, there's Jack Buck is a legendary broadcaster for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's in the Hall of Fame, and I grew up listening to him. And on the way out, I was talking to my friend John, and I was, God, that was horrible. He's like, yeah, don't worry about it. And this lady walked by, this elderly lady. She was very nice, and she goes, hey, it was a tough crowd, honey. Don't worry about it. And I was like, oh, he goes, that was Jack Buck's widow right there. I'm like, yeah, can this get any more humiliating? that wasn't a whole lot of fun.
Well, a lot of my entertainers tell me the same thing. It's usually got to do with setup and sound systems, and things get screwed up. That's the way things go.
Yeah, back those days, that was quite a while ago, and I'm not going to lie, Karen. It would be really convenient to blame just the sound system, but I might have had something to do with that failure too. I'm not going to put it all on the sound system. I probably did a few things wrong.
Okay, you married man?
What's that?
Are you a married man?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay.
My friends are all married. One of them called me the other day. He goes, hey man, you want to hear something pathetic? I was like, yeah, sure. He goes, right now I'm sitting on the couch with my wife watching a movie on Lifetime for women television. I was like, that's pathetic. I'm watching the same movie.
That's pretty funny.
Thank you.
Okay, so how long of a performance do you like to give, say, like on a stage to a decent crowd?
I think, stand-up comedy is sort of meant to be seen in about an hour. Usually okay. Usually it's about an hour, somewhere between, depending on the setting, but if it's a normal show, it's somewhere between about 40 minutes and an hour.
One of the advantages you have as a comedian is you don't have a lot of stuff to bring with you. A lot of my entertainers have, they have a lot of stuff and a lot of stage setup to do. So I guess on that respect, you're pretty lucky because it's just you, right? Yeah,
I never thought about that. That's I think it's just me, Karen. There's nothing else but me. Hopefully somebody has a microphone. If they don't, I guess maybe we can find a bullhorn. Yeah, it's just me.
So if you were to do it all over again, would you make the same move and just quit your day job?
I would. I mean, to be honest, when I quit, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this because I got to get it out of my system, but I have a feeling I'm going to go back to selling potato chips in 2 years. And that was 20 years ago, and I haven't had to do anything but this for 20 years. So yeah, no, I'm grateful that I did it. I mean, I kind of wish I would have, quit a little bit earlier, but who knows? Maybe at that point I would not have had enough interesting things to talk about in my life. So it worked out the way it worked out.
So how many events did you do, say, last year? Do you know?
Well, last year's a little bit of a different year. You mean 2020?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, let's go to 2019. I understand. Believe me.
Yeah, I mean, I did work in 2020, but not quite as much as that's not how I drew it up, let's say. I would say in an average year, I'm on the road maybe 200 nights a year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the biggest event you've ever done with the biggest crowd?
Well, it's weird, like, cause like, there's two different biggest. Like, I would say the biggest like the biggest events in my career have been, some TV stuff. Like I taped a special that came out last year on Amazon Prime. It came out in the middle of 2020, and we taped it in 2019. It was called Where the Field Corn Grows. It was all sort of about my lack of understanding of farming. And we got a lot of farmers to come to the show, and so that was probably one of the biggest things I've ever done. When I did a half-hour special for Comedy Central several years ago, that was a big deal. But like the biggest crowd, I was on this tour with there's a radio show called the Bob and Tom Show that's syndicated all over the country, and we did a tour with them, and we would go and do like shows in front of 2,000 people or something like that. Theaters and those kinds of things.
So I understand you've told me that you want to do county fairs. Why is that?
Well, okay. I've been to a couple. I think it starts with this farming special. I was doing comedy, I don't know, a few years ago. I was in Des Moines, Iowa, and I was doing a show, and there was a lot of farmers in the crowd. And Karen, I don't know a ton about farming. So I asked this guy, I go, what do you farm? And he said, beans. And I said, you mean like green beans? And they all started laughing at me like I was the dumbest person. And he thinks we go green beans in Iowa. Oh, that's a good one there, green beans. Green beans in Iowa. Don't that beat all? This fella, it was soybeans. I didn't know, which by the way, green beans, that's not that ridiculous of an answer. That's a real food. I've eaten them before. I didn't say jelly beans, okay? I said a legitimate vegetable, right? So like I did that, and I started telling that story a little bit on stage. And a few weeks later, this lady came up to me. She goes, "Hey, don't feel bad about the beans." She goes, I'm a farmer, and she goes, I met this guy the other day. He didn't even know the difference between field corn and sweet corn. I was like, what a dummy. I had no idea. And now, I do know the difference. Field corn, that's what they, they grind up and they feed to the animals. And sweet corn, that's what we eat. And, of course, once they explain it, it's really easy to remember because field corn is grown in a field, whereas sweet corn is grown in a field. So you can see, they make it real easy. But anyways, I started doing more and more material about how I don't know anything about farming. And then I started going out to farms and interviewing farmers and learning about farming. And it sort of evolved into this 1-hour special that aired on Amazon Prime, that is on Amazon Prime right now, called Where the Field Corn Grows. And I got a lot of fans that are farmers or people that live in rural communities. And this all happened during the pandemic, and I was kind of brainstorming. I was like, what's a way to reach some of those people? And I thought maybe doing some county fairs might be a way to get in front of some of those people, live, to do comedy live in front of those people, and capitalize on some of the new fans that I made with the special. So, I thought it'd be fun. And I live in the Midwest. I live in Missouri, and there's a ton of county fairs around me. And I never really thought of it as a place to do comedy. And I was just, I think I just Googled county fair entertainers, and you were one of the first people that came up. I'm like, let's talk to this person. So,
I've been around since 1998. Okay, so
okay, all right.
And I do county fairgrounds. County fairs are happy places. People are happy at county fairs.
Yeah,
and
it seems like it. Yeah.
One of the things you might consider doing, if I could make a recommendation, is I think you might make a good grounds act. That would be like a strolling comedian and walking the grounds. I think you might have fun doing that. And people go to county fairs so they can have a good time and be happy. Of course, the pandemic has sort of screwed that. But
yeah, I will. I certainly appreciate the the input, but I don't think the strolling comedian is a good idea. Comedy is a very.
Why are you afraid they would throw popcorn at you?
Oh no! I like popcorn. If it was kettle corn, I may do it just for the kettle corn.
They might do that.
Yeah, I've learned stand-up comedy sort of needs to be in somewhat of a controlled environment where people are there to see stand-up comedy and they're seated and there's a stage and that sort of thing. So.
Okay, so how long of a show do you see yourself doing? How many minutes? Give us some idea.
Oh, I mean, I think it's like I said earlier. I think comedy is more of a. It should be done in sort of a 40 minutes to an hour block of time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Gregg, one of the things that's very important here is my county fairs will want to know how to reach you. So how do they do that?
Well, my website is gregwarrencomedy.com, and that's a good way to get a hold of me right there. It's got my email on there. It's got my agent's email on there, and that's usually how people find me. Yeah, I mean, I'm all over social media and all that stuff too. But my website, it's got a lot of clips and stuff on there. Yeah.
Do you have any particular county fair or any state that you would like to work in?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to work in my home state of Missouri. I work quite a bit during the year in clubs and corporate events and all those kinds of things. But I had this idea. I thought it'd be fun to do sort of a Midwest tour in the summer of county fairs. I think we could do something really cool with that. Maybe get an opening act and go do a show at several county fairs. So yeah, Missouri. I think Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, really anywhere, but I think sort of the agricultural states would really work well with some of the new material.
You're really into the farming thing. You want to go meet those farmers, right?
I mean, I tell you what, like I said, I grew up in St. Louis, which is a city, but we're close to farms all over, and I never really thought much about it until I did this special, and it's the whole thing is fascinating to me. So yeah.
Yeah, maybe you should be a farmer.
I wouldn't. I think that would be a very that would negatively influence the food supply of our country. I think I would be a terrible farmer. Yeah,
your father would love it.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. He may think he's still always looking for backup plans for me. I'm doing great. I made a bunch of money. I've been working, for 20 years doing this. It's a great life. And he was like, "Hey, you ever talk to your brother about, selling insurance with him?" I'm like, why? You're right. He may be like, maybe the farming would be a good idea for you, son. That's, he'd love it. My dad's, he's a big horse guy and all that, so he'd probably be happy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. Gregg, and, we'll go ahead and get this posted, and we'll see. Hopefully you'll get some county fairs, and it's been a real pleasure talking to you.
I enjoy talking to you too, Karen. Thanks a lot. This is really cool. That's something new for me.
Okay. Adios.
Bye-bye, Karen.
Bye.